Up Late with Johnny Potenza is filmed in front of a live studio audience. Coming to you live from the city that never sleeps, New York City. It's Up Late with Johnny Potenza. Please welcome the host of Up Late, Johnny Potenza.
Thank you. How you doing? I tell you can't make this up. CTV, now community television. What is it called? Community media, Staten Island. Yeah, there you go. How's everybody doing? Good. We got a really good show for you. Our first guest up tonight, hailing from Staten Island, we have comedian Jeffrey Paul. He's an actor, he's a producer. He's here to talk about his new film, Twisted Fiction. And you can see them in the new season of Gravesend on Amazon Prime. We have Gaetano, Iacono in the studio. Yeah. Our musical acts, this young man brings back the old school sounds of the Rat Pack. He's an Italian-American singer. We have Charlie Romo in the house. And my very special guest, it's my pleasure to have him on the show. And, you know, we're an entertainment variety show. And this next guest is heavily into the politics, but he's a real New Yorker. And he's the host of his own radio show on 77 WABC every day. He's the CEO and the starter of the Guardian Angels. Let's give it up for Curtis Sliwa. Yeah. And that's it. So summer's over. You believe it? By the time the show is, it's going to be almost Halloween. But I'm going to go sit down for a minute, then we're going to bring on our first guest. Community Media of Staten Island, formerly CTV, now is streaming. You can get it on Road Crew, and it's on Apple TV. It's also on the website. Everyone always asks where your shows are airing. It's on our website, johnnyptv.com. It streams on YouTube and Vimeo, and then it is in all 5 boroughs and in California on the public access station that you got, and all the air times are on the website. Our first guest up tonight, let's give it up for comedian Jeffrey Paul.
It is good to be here, man, because I perform a lot in New York City. Have you guys been to New York City recently? Yeah, oh man, has it gone down or what? It really has. I mean, New York City has just gotten more and more rude. Let me share a story with you, right? So the other night, I was performing at a club in New York City. When I'm not performing, I wear glasses. I park my car 3 blocks down. I'm walking, and this random guy, starts yelling at me. He starts going, "Hey, Four Eyes! Hey, you Four Eyes freak! Watch where you're going, Four Eyes!" I was like, "Listen, officer, I need the glasses to be able to see." No, New York City, man, it has gotten bad. It really has. Like the homeless in New York City, right? 80,000 homeless people in New York City. And those are just the out-of-work actors and comedians, all right? You walk around the city, the whole city smells like weed, doesn't it? Right? You get a contact high, just walking from your car to wherever you have to go. Okay? I get influenced very easy. I started smoking weed again. Okay? My wife is not happy about this. She gives me a hard time. She's like, You're gonna start with that again? You're gonna start smoking weed? Do you know what that'll do to your brain? You'll have no memory. I go, that's not true, because I remember to smoke weed every day. She goes, you'll get dumber. It's not true either. I'm getting smarter. Okay, I am better at math now than I have ever been in my life. Okay, because I know the difference between a quarter and an eighth. Right? And the woman was laughing. That's $50, isn't it? I don't know, man. You know, the thing is, like I'm looking at stuff, and I'm getting grouchy because I'm getting older. Just last month, I celebrated a big birthday. I just turned 50, right? Thank you. Yeah. But I got to tell you, baby, listen, I'm not happy about it. I didn't want to turn 50. People knew that I wasn't happy about it, and they would try and make me feel good. They would say things like, hey, what are you upset about? 50, that's the new 30. Bullshit it is. 50's not the new 30. Because when I was 30 years old, I don't remember having to pee 24 times a day. Okay? And it's different when you're 50 with the way you pee, right? When you're a young guy, when you're in your 20s, okay, you pee. It's like turning on a hose. Like it's coming out like a force, like a stream. I pee now in my 50s. I pee, and then 4 seconds later, I got to turn around and pee again. And folks, it's not a stream that's coming out. It's a trickle, okay? It goes down your leg. It gets into your sock. It's disgusting. No, I hate. You know what the thing is? I thought, like, at least when I turned 50, I thought, like, at least I would get, like, great gifts. I'm not getting any great gifts. You know what someone gave me for my 50th birthday? Someone gave me a $100 gift card to Dollar General. Have you? I was like, perfect. Yeah, really, because I was running low on back scratches and picture frames. Dollar General. Do you know how sketchy that place is? Okay, they have, okay, I bought this. Okay, they have 1,000 vitamins for $1. I bought 1,000 vitamins for $1. Now, I don't know what vitamin J does, but I'm growing a third testicle, and I got to stop taking that shit. No, man, I don't like getting older. You know, the thing is, I can feel myself morphing. I'm morphing into an old guy. I'm starting to say old guy things. I said this sentence the other day, right? I was walking down McDougal Street, and this sentence came out of my mouth. I stopped. I was like, hey, you know something? That was a really good apple I had over the weekend. Okay? Listen, folks, when you're reminiscing about fruit from the past, okay, that is an old guy thing to say. And the thing is, like, when you get older, you start asking yourself questions like you wouldn't ask yourself when you were a younger man. Like, I ask myself questions like, why am I here? Yeah, but I don't ask it in the spiritual sense. Yeah, I do not ask that in the spiritual sense. Because sometimes I will be downstairs in my garage or my basement. I'll be like, why am I here? Am I building something? Do I need something? My shoes hurt, okay? It stinks. You know, about turning 50. And here's the thing. This is what I don't get about getting older. Like I'm a vain guy. You know what I was afraid of? I'm afraid of losing my hair. But, like, I'm not losing it. Like, I know where it is. I know it's at home. I know it's on my brush. I know it's on my shower floor. And I do everything I can to hold on to this. I take like, this Rogaine foam, and I rub it up here twice a day. And up here, nothing growing. But my ears, nose, and neck, that's growing like Miracle Grow. No, man, and I don't get this. I think God's a comedian. Does anyone else in the audience think God's a comedian? This is what I don't get about God. Why would God give me this hair, okay, and this hairline, but a thick black patch of ass neck hair, okay? Where, like, I can't even wear a proper bathing suit. It sucks, man. The whole thing is, it's like you because you know the thing, when you get older, when you're in your 50s, you start to realize your own mortality. Right? You start to realize, hey, there are things you can't do for the first time anymore. It stinks. And you know what the thing is? Like, you can't lose weight the way you used to.
Right on.
Exactly, right? Like when Johnny brought me up, I don't know if he mentioned I was in this movie called The Irishman. Did you guys see it? Okay. Yeah, thank you. So I was in the movie The Irishman. You know, we filmed that movie about 6-7 years ago. And to be in the movie, I put on over 20 pounds. Nobody asked me to do it. I mean, I just did it. Like, I've been trying to lose weight, right? And it's hard to lose weight when you get older, okay? And, like, the thing I hate about the dieting is the questions that people ask you. They'll ask you questions, hey, what's your goal? What do you want to get down to? And I tell them, I want to get down to a B cup, okay? All right, guys, that's it for me. I'm Jeffrey Paul. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Comedian Jeffrey Paul. And I got the young gentleman sitting right here. What's up, buddy?
Good to be here, John. Thank you for having me, man. It's great that, first of all, that things are back and running. I recently got involved in a new venture back in June. I opened up a comedy club.
Yes, I heard about that.
Yeah, just outside Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Cool.
It's called Laughing Stock Comedy Club. We're right now open 4 days a week. We do open mics on Wednesday, produce shows on Thursday, and then we have house shows on Friday and Saturday.
Oh, not bad. Now, listen, let me interrupt you now. That's right near Hershey, right?
Yeah, it's right outside Hershey.
Okay. Last time you were on the show was September 26, 2017. It was the 10th season of the Late Night with Johnny P. Show. You remember that?
Here's the reason why I remember this.
Tell everybody this story.
Okay. So I was doing stand-up, and I may have done like a couple of commercials. I did some Discovery Investigations stuff. I do the show here on Late Night with Johnny P. And I did because we filmed at 8 o'clock. I didn't have another spot. I was hosting at Broadway at 11, and I figured I have nothing else to do on a Thursday. I do the show. This was on, was September, you said?
Yeah.
I thought, okay.
Stop hitting the desk.
Okay. So, so I do the show, and I'm going to say almost maybe 9 months later, it's August, and I'm driving to Atlantic City to do a show, and I get a phone call from Gina Savage, who was managing Broadway Comedy Club at the time. And she goes, hey, this Ellen Lewis is looking for you. Okay, she's calling all the comedy clubs. They're interested in you in this new Martin Scorsese movie. And I'm thinking, this has got to be a pearl on by my stupid friends. Okay? So I call one of my buddies who's a comedian and actor. He calls me back a couple minutes later. He goes, make the call. There is a new Scorsese movie. Ellen Lewis is a real person. Make the call. I go down to Atlantic City. Okay? I make the call on my way down there. I drive back the next day. I don't have my first cup of coffee because my routine is I have a cup of coffee in the morning. I watch Andy Griffin's show. And before Opie even makes an appearance, okay, Ellen Lewis's office calls me, and they're like, would you be interested in auditioning for Scorsese's new movie? Of course I want audition for this movie. They send me the sides. I practice all weekend. I'm practicing with comedians. If you mess up with a comedian, they will make fun of you. So I go in, and I have a killer audition. She asked me, she goes, you did great. Would you be interested in a part that has a little bit more screen time? Absolutely. Gives me the new sides, memorize in 20 minutes, come out, make a long story short. I get cast in it, and thanks to the Johnny P. Show, I wound up getting in SAG. I wound up doing a couple of more movies and some TV shows.
Yeah, you missed out on that.
So that's the thing. That's the thing about Johnny P. So Johnny P. deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah. He missed a spot of it. Ellen Lewis was actually scouting new faces for The Irishman, and since we air
I didn't know that.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now. You know this. He's another one that's like Stu Knott. But anyway,
He's my friend.
I got the same thing too. I thought my friends were making calls. But anyway, Ellen Lewis asked me because she saw my show and she wanted Jeffrey Paul's number, she wanted Vito Piccone's number, and a couple other people. And
Gary Pastore.
Gary Pastore, yeah.
He was on the show too.
And I said, sure, no problem. And she saw them all, then that's how you got it, from Ellen Lewis seeing my show on Manhattan cable.
That's right.
So you never know who's watching.
No. And that's why I give you like all the credit in the world.
And I didn't even get a kickback,
I gave him one of my T-shirts.
No, I got to say one thing. Out of all the people that did get something from that, he was the only one that actually said where he got the gig from. But you did. You told everybody, and I appreciate that.
Well, it's a break that I'm very grateful for, and I'm very thankful that you asked me to be on the show. And, hey, who knows? Maybe lightning will strike twice.
And this guy's a school teacher. Go figure. He's smart. You're smart. You got the pension,
Well, I teach because only because I enjoy it. I teach at a school called St. Joseph by the Sea.
Yeah.
And I teach a couple of history classes. I don't even consider it teaching. I consider it talking history because that's what we do. I went back for my master's just because I wasn't looking to capitalize on it, just because I just like it.
Well, listen, your time is almost up. Talk about this new movie that you're going to be in.
Okay, so I have a movie that's out now called Midlife.
Okay.
And I filmed it a couple years ago, and it did really well on the festival circuit. Mm-hmm. And now it's coming out to all the streaming services, which is the way a lot of movies are coming out. So I asked people to kind of check that out. It's about a guy who goes through a midlife crisis. I'm not the star of the movie or anything. I have a couple of scenes, but a really cool and interesting part that I was happy to be part of.
Well, that's great. Now, listen, before we wrap this up, where are you going to be performing in the near future, and where can people find you on social media?
Okay, you can find me at Jeffrey Paul on Instagram, Jeffrey Paul Comic on Instagram, Jeffrey Paul on Facebook and X. This Staten Island audience, so if this airs in time, if people would like to come out at the new Waterside on Richmond Valley Road, November 4th, we do a big fundraiser every year for pediatric cancer. We have some of the best comedians in the country that come out. I mean, really some of the top big names that come out and support this cause. We sell out every year. Would love to see people come out to support that. If you want to see me, you can catch my schedule on any social media. I'm up at the club in Hershey a lot, and I will be was this October 20th, 21st, I'll be at the Church of Satire, and I'll be at Crockpots in Ohio.
Crockpots?
Crockpots Comedy Club in Ohio.
That's where you belong.
Yeah.
Everybody, Jeffrey Paul.
Thank you, guys.
Comedian Jeffrey Paul at a theater near you. That's if they'll take him. So I'd like to say special shout out to a couple of good friends of mine that are in the audience. We have actor, producer from The Sopranos, Lou Martini Jr. is here. We got my good buddy Nick Christophers, who's a director. He's an editor. He has a new film coming out, and he used to work for Mount Candy Magazine. Let's give it up for him, too. And I got my buddy for 40 years in here, Brian Walsh, his first show that he ever came to. But give him a hand, too. And one of my oldest childhood friends, which he is, Danny Calamine, is here tonight. And his wife, Mercy. I got it right. All right. My next guest up tonight, he's an actor, he's a producer. He's here to talk about his new film, Twisted Fiction. And you could also see him on the new season of Gravesend. Let's give it up for Gaetano Iacono. What's up, buddy?
Thank you, John. What's up, buddy?
Good to see you, man.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
You know, people really don't know you were my next-door neighbor for years.
That's right. Banging those drums. And my father says, doesn't that guy ever stop beating on those drums?
Yeah, and your mom and dad and your wife are in the audience too, right?
Yes.
All right,
yes, yeah. Thank you. My biggest supporters.
I know we have so many stories to tell, but you know, this is about you right now. So now listen, you got this new movie coming out, Twisted Fiction. Talk about it.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Twisted Fiction is a kind of like a Twilight Zone with a horror twist to it. We started off with episodes that we were doing episodes, but of course, in independent production, things go very slow, so we couldn't pump the episodes out as quick as we would like. So we posted a couple up, and they ended up on Amazon, they ended up on Tubi and some other streaming sites. Then when we did another two to add them on, we had a little bit of a problem. We're like, what are we gonna do? So what we did was we did a trilogy feature, kind of like, you know, I remember when we were kids, you ever see Trilogy of Terror? They put 3 shorts together, make a movie. Well, that's what we did. It's fantastic. There's 3 different stories. There's a story about where this guy goes with his wife to a hypnosis. It's like a sexual hypnotist, and it shows the effects that it has on, you know, like, you know when someone gets something stuck in their mind and they can't let it go?
Yeah.
So this guy, the hypnotist, gives his wife an orgasm on the stage. The whole audience, basically, whoever he hypnotizes, and he can't live with it. So that one shows how it affects him. Then there's another one that it shows, like, how far people are willing to go to get away with something and not letting anyone find out. my favorite and I think our best episode, portion of it is, it goes to show, like, you know, John, show business is kind of a dirty business. You know, see, I think I know, but
a lot
anyway,
of shady people.
A little shady. I mean, I can't get a tan in this freaking place. But anyway, long story short, you know, like we did an episode showing how people in power take advantage of actresses, and it's called Witch's Brew, and you know, they cast a spell on this movie mogul. Think of like a Harvey Weinstein kind of Bill Cosby type of thing, but with a horror twist to it. It's really good. I mean, I'm proud of it. I'm very, very proud of everything we do. I did it with a group of guys that I love very much. So,
what's the name of the production company?
Well,
Jagged?
It's called Jagged Productions. What I did was I met a group of guys where I did a movie quite a few years ago, and I met Mark Fratto and Frank Goffey, God rest his soul. And I was like, you know what? I like these guys. I like those guys. And, you know, like, people grow on you. And when I like people and I know that they love me, I put them together.
All right.
You know, and I build, you know, support around myself. So we all work together, and we decided, let's form this Jagged Productions and pump out horror movies, you know. So Jagged Productions is basically a horror production company. We could do other stuff, but that's where the brains of the operation go. I give a lot of credit to Mark Fratto, who is the key director for us, you know, and we have Joe Mengi, who's a great writer, and Frank Goffey was an excellent sound guy, you know, God rest his soul. And, you know, we have a nice team, you know, and we just keep working.
Well, as you said, team, it's like in the Untouchables. You remember when Al Capone, who saw the Untouchables out there?
Everyone.
You know, so Al Capone's going around the table, and he's talking about the baseball team, like, you know, the type card and everything. And you have to have all the players, great players, and dedication in order to have a good team.
That's right.
And when you have that one missing link, you don't get the team no more. And same thing with me doing the show. You got to have a great team and staff. It takes one apple to spoil the bunch, you know. But I totally agree with you, you know.
Well, look, you know, the way I like to do it is if I find love, I keep it around me, and if I feel like people have a problem with me, you know, well, it's unfortunate because I try to love everyone.
And you can't do that in this business because even if they like you, they don't like you.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We just got to pray for them and hope, you know, that they see the light and learn to cope well and get by.
Well, listen, we got a fabulous trailer of this. So would you mind if we roll it?
Do I mind? I want to roll it twice.
All right, my new director, Helene, roll tape.
I want you to think back to the best orgasm you ever had in your life.
Oh my god. I didn't mean to kill him. He liked to be choked.
Just so you know, nobody gets a lead in a Howard Kasanoff production just by doing a monologue. You want to touch it?
Excuse me?
That's not gonna bother you, right? If this guy gives me the hypno-orgasm.
And whenever you hear my name, it'll trigger a 100 megaton bomb of pleasure throughout your body.
No, it's not gonna bother me.
I just wanted to hurt somebody.
This one will.
I just wanted to be the one who did the hurting for once.
Mr. Kasanoff, is it okay if I just did my audition, like, now?
How about a drink first, though, huh? What can I get you?
I want your soul.
Bad, buddy.
Not bad, right?
Looks very good.
For a bunch of amateurs, we did pretty good.
You were the best one in there. Very convincing.
I got to tell you, great actors on this show. I hope everybody likes it, and I hope that anyone that watches it latches on to one of these actors because they really work very hard.
Now, where can people watch this right now?
They could watch it on Amazon Prime, Tubi. I think it's also on Reveal. It's streaming on a bunch of networks. I mean, every day, someone else picks it up.
Video on demand, just search it, I'm sure it'll pop up, right?
Vimeo on demand. I mean, if you want to watch it, just look for it. It's there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no excuse. Someone calls and says, oh, where do I watch it? Look, you want to watch it, make an effort. It's there. It's easy to find.
All right. So
anyway.
now, listen, has everybody seen that new TV series, Gravesend, on Amazon Prime? Yeah. Our friend, director, writer, William DeMeo, actor, he was here years ago, and he will be on sometime in 2024. But Gaetano is in it.
Yeah, I'm in it. Yeah, it would be great if he comes back to promote Gravesend.
No,
it's a great show.
No, we're definitely going to get Willie on.
I'm in 3 episodes. You see me in 3 episodes. I'm in episode 6, 7, and 9, the last episode. I mean, good stuff.
I like how the last scene that you did. We're not going to blow it for everybody.
Yeah.
That was a good one. That I didn't expect.
Neither did I. They surprised me with that.
That's you out of the box.
A little bit out of the box, but I enjoyed it.
Of course you did.
I think Willie has something there. It's a great show. From what I understand, they're doing a season 3.
Yeah, he just got picked up for season 3, and
yeah. And I hope to be a big part of it. I mean, I don't know. I haven't gotten a call yet, but I hope to be a big part of it.
I was on the phone with him last week for about 45 minutes, and I wanted to get him on next month's Christmas show because I had a cancellation. Someone's going into surgery, one of my special guests, and he's going to be out of town. I'm starting my own T-shirts, just like he has, the Brooklyn brand. I can't say what the name is going to be because someone's going to rob the name. So, but he's doing pretty good with them.
He's a good guy.
So now listen, it's almost your time. You're going to be directing a movie for Jagged Productions, right? Talk about that.
So real quick, we are in pre-production and in script phase. So the guys, they support me, and you know, like I talk a lot when we're shooting, and I'm definitely going to be directing. For my first time, I'm going to be directing a feature. It's going to be called The Locket, written by Joe Mengi, and we're going to be working together. And to make sure I have guidance, I'm going to have Mark Fratto, which is our key director. He's going to be DP, and he's going to be guiding me through this. But I think I'm going to enjoy it. I hope we'll see how that goes. It's going to be my first time. I always have a good, very vivid imagination how I would like to see things done. We'll give it a shot. I'm not a famous actor yet, so maybe I'll become a big director.
I see good things for you. I don't know when it's going to be, but I do see great things for you.
I hope it's before I die.
I hope we make it together. Listen, if I make it and I die a week late, I'm good.
Yeah, I'll be happy with that, too.
So listen, where can people find you on social media, website?
The usual spots. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. You know, just type my name in there. You'll find me. Very easy to find. If you type my name in there, you'll see that I'm also a real estate agent. So however you need me, call me.
And he makes good Zeppelis, too.
And I make good Zeppelis. I make good Zeppelis.
All right, everybody. Gaetano Iacono.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, John.
I'd like to dedicate this one to the late, great Mr. Tony Bennett. The loveliness of Paris seems somehow sadly gay. The glory that was Rome is of another day. I've been terribly alone and forgotten in Manhattan. I'm going home to my city by the bay. left my heart in San Francisco, high on a hill. It calls to me to be where little cable cars climb halfway to the stars. The morning the fall may chill the air. I don't care, my love waits there in San Francisco. Above the blue and windy seas, when I come home to you, San Francisco. Your golden sun will shine for me. Thank you so much. All right, we've got one more, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to dedicate this one to the chairman of the board, Frank Sinatra. Any Sinatra fans in the house tonight? All right, here we go. That's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May. But I know I'm gonna change that too. When I'm back on top in June. 'Cause I said that's life. And as funny as it may seem, let me tell you something. Some people actually get their kicks stomping on a dream. But I don't let it, I don't let it get me down. You know why? Because this fine old world, it keeps spinning around. I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn and a king. I've been up and down and over and out. But I know one thing. Each time that I find myself flat on my face, what do? I just pick myself studio. Where? There you go. Don't be shy. That's life. I tell you, I can't deny it. I thought of quitting once or twice, but my heart won't buy it. And if I didn't think it was worth just one more try, well, I'd jump right on that big bird and let it fly. 'Cause I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn and a king. I've been up and down and over and out. But I know one thing. Each time that I find myself laying flat on my face, I just pick myself up and get back in the race. Yes, that's life. That's life. And I can't deny it. Many times I thought of cutting out, but my heart won't buy it. And if there's nothing shaking come this here July, I'm gonna roll myself up in a big ball and die. Thank you very much.
Order. All right, Charlie Romo. And we'll be seeing a little more of him later on. We're going to sit down and talk to him. But for my very special guest tonight, as I said, he's the founder and he's the CEO of the Guardian Angels. He's the host of his own talk show on 77 WABC, Rip and Read. We got the one and only Curtis Sliwa in the studio. Yeah. My man Curtis. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming down. But before we start this interview, it's finally great to have someone on the show that got arrested more times than me.
And plus, I'm going to get arrested a hell of a lot more until we run these illegal aliens out of our city.
Amen. Now, listen, before we start this, and we're going to go on, and everyone's going to love it. It's an entertainment variety show, and politics really wasn't my game until a couple of years ago, until everything started changing. And I love what you do, and it takes guys like you to really step up to the plate and and stand up for us and do whatever it takes to save our city. So I'm here right now. You were born in Canarsie, Brooklyn, right? Polish and Italian.
Yes.
Why don't you talk about how it was back in the old days and into where you are today?
Well, first off, you know why I schlepped out here.
Frank Morano?
That Mama Luke. No. Oh, you're the kingmaker. I remember watching you with a young kid named Pete Davidson when nobody knew who the hell this guy was.
I'm glad you're saying something. Yeah, no kidding.
You gave him his start.
Yeah.
But he's left.
Yeah.
He's out in Beverly Hills.
I don't even get a candy bar.
So you don't have a king of Staten Island anymore.
No.
Well, guess what? You got a new king of Staten Island.
Yeah. But you know what's funny? And it's no big deal, but I won the King of Staten Island award at the Country Club in 2018. 2 years later, they came out with the King of Staten Island 2020. But, I mean, listen, Pete Davidson, God bless him and all his success. But you don't forget where you came from. You didn't forget where you came from.
No.
And it's the people that make you, right?
Exactly. My grandfather, Fidel Bianchino, he would say to me, Wanyam, if the fig tree dies, we move. And he did everything to make sure that fig tree didn't die. He took tar paper. He surrounded it. He took mattresses. He'd be watching Carol Reed on the old Channel 2 News, the weather woman, for Arnold Brick Oven Bread. And she'd say, it's going to be 26 degrees tonight. He'd be out there with the barrel. He'd be lighting fires. Yeah. He'd be making sure that fig tree didn't die. In the spring, I'd be looking. He said, Wanyam, we're not moving. The figs are alive. We improve, we don't move.
That's great. I love it.
Look, that's the old style Italian way.
Oh.
Everybody else runs, they don't run.
No, exactly. And that's what the good thing about the Italians. We say what we feel, and we do what we mean, and then that's it. So as time went on, you know, you were a night manager in McDonald's, correct?
In Mickey D's, and of all places, the Bronx.
And how old were you?
At that time, I got kicked out of high school, Brooklyn Prep. The Jesuits shined their boots on my backside, and I never looked back.
That's crazy.
I was packing out shelves for A&P, pumping gas, and I had this idea that maybe I should get some young men, young women to patrol the streets of Brooklyn, the subways of Brooklyn. And people said, you're crazy, you're bots. Mm-hmm. All the furniture's upstairs rearranged in the wrong rooms. So I had to go into exile, like Napoleon went to the island of Elba. I said, where could I go where people wouldn't think I'm a nut job?
Yeah.
The Bronx. It was all burning down, right?
Oh, tell me about it.
Everybody was leaving.
I'm sorry.
So I went up there, and not only was I making Max fries and strawberry shakes, but I came up with this idea, and people said, well, let's give it a try, because nothing's working. And that's how I began the Guardian Angel.
And that was the Magnificent 13, but first, right?
Magnificent 13, but really was the Burger Boys.
Oh, yeah?
These were all guys and gals who worked for me, and I would tell them afterwards, because they thought you were insane to be going out there against the Uzi-toting, dope-sucking, psychopathic killing machines with no weapons, no bulletproof vests. So I said, guess what? Ray Kroc doesn't know this, but he's going to give you extra overtime. I'm not punching you out until the patrol is finished. So we started as the Burger Boys, then the Magnificent 13, and now 13 countries, 130 cities, 5,000 members.
That's excellent.
The Guardian Angels.
And your beret is part of your trademark with the Guardian Angels, correct? And is it true they're selling them in other places of the world?
Yeah, Gucci. Gucci did a brand of the Guardian Angel beret. You know, the fashionistas, the trendoids, the jet setters. You know what the Guardian Angels got for that? Ugats.
Yeah.
We got bupkis. Gucci got everything. I got belly button lint for the Guardian Angels.
We should hook them up with Pete Davidson.
Oh, that's right, Pete. Hey, he's with all the trendoids, jet setters, and freakazoids now.
God bless him. But listen.
Hey, you know what you remind me of? One of my first TV appearances. First was Romper Room. That's when I became lens lice. I was hopelessly addicted, right? Do be, don't be. My second appearance was with Joe Franklin.
Oh, okay. Love Joe Franklin.
I'm telling you, you are the second coming of Joe Franklin.
I hope so. Thank you.
That is a tremendous compliment because he was the absolute best.
And that's in my questions for you that I was going to say. I know Joe was very fond of you.
Yes.
And how did you guys meet?
He actually met through my sister, Alita St. James, who was a director. She directed Danny Aiello in Championship Season. Very good. She was in Hair. So, you know, let's face it, Joe Franklin promoted people who are in the artsy-fartsy world of drama, television, movie production. Mm-hmm. And he took a liking to my sister, and my sister said, you got to meet my baby brother. He's cleaning up the city of New York. At that time, it was keep the Bronx clean, keep New York City clean.
Yeah, yeah.
He put me on his show, and I was hopelessly addicted for life. And I got to tell you, he was the greatest impresario of all time.
No, he definitely was. You're lucky, you and Frank, but you guys got to know him a lot longer than me. I got to know him about the last 4 years of his life, but he definitely left an impression on me. And I learned, whatever I learned from him, and through his books, when I read his books, I hear his voice. And,
and my mentor in radio, the king of talk radio, Bob Grant.
Okay.
Absolutely the best.
Yeah.
You know, when I first was at WABC, the suits, the mockers, the muckety-mucks, they said, what is this guy saying? We can't even understand what this guy is saying. And Bob Grant, who was the king of talk radio, said, hey, this guy knows where all the bones are buried and who buried them. You need Curtis Sliwa on WABC. Ironically, 35 years later, what does WABC stand for? Always Broadcasting Curtis. Due to my mentor, the king of talk radio, Bob Grant, I would never have had an opportunity in talk radio.
Listen, I've been listening to you a lot lately. You're hilarious, but you say it as it is, and I love. You're a lot like me, where you have nicknames for everybody, and you have a nickname for everybody. It's great.
When Mario Faccia Brutta Cuomo was alive, like his son Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo. Andrew, ascendeme, tu siu provino sfacim, and like your father Mario, you are. That directly came from Bob Grant. There are some people who want to have a nickname. If you don't give them a nickname, they're upset.
Yeah.
And then there are other people, if they had a gun, they would unload it into me and then reload and shoot me again. This thing you do, this thing we do on radio, it's theater of the mind. Stop taking it so seriously. Everybody is having coronaries, heart attacks.
And you're right.
You know, they're not having fun. They don't understand that this is like words paint pictures, and pictures tell stories. And I grew up with the two greatest men in my life. My grandfather, Fidel Bianchino, on my body's side, my mother's side, Francesca, and my father, Chester, merchant seaman, 54 years, constantly sailing in and out of Arthur Kill, Van Cull, the tank farms, tankers, cargo container ships. And they would tell stories. And they would tell me early on, why are you talking? You know nothing. Listen and you will learn.
Exactly.
Nowadays, I see my three sons, right? So, well, how could you talk? You don't know anything yet other than video games. If you listen, you will learn. and the elderly carry with them stories that have lasted centuries. And I view my role on radio as telling stories.
Yeah.
That's how you learn. Not just repeating the same old political points over and over to the point where you just want to turn the radio off.
No, 100%. I mean, that's what keeps it interesting, especially for radio, because radio, if people get unfocused, they're gonna fall asleep, as you said. You're very entertaining, and that's what I like about your show. But you're very smart and educated when it comes to politics.
You listen to me and Frank Morano, and that's your news? Oh, boy. I hope you have a few more avenues of news gathering than from Frank the Mama Luke Morano and Curtis Sliwa.
Oh, you can't call Frank the Mama Luke.
He's a Mama Luke. Come on, you know that.
He's a good kid.
Every Italian boy is a little prince. They never want to leave home. At 45 years old, their mother is still making them pasta bazzol, making their bed, and ironing their BVDs. They'll never find a woman who can equal Mama.
Oh, my mother threw me out. She screamed, "Oh, you gotta get out! You're out!" And that was it. Now, before we get further, give me the one fondest memory you have with Joe Franklin, because I always love hearing a Joe Franklin story.
Clutter.
Yeah.
I went over to his office. Frank Morano took me to his office. I have clutter. I have that disease.
Yeah,
it's in my father.
Me too.
My father, Leonard, my uncle, Smitty, Ernie, my grandfather, Anton, clutter everywhere. And when I walked into his office, there were mounds of clutter.
Yeah.
And Frank said, watch, I'm going to ask him to get a particular piece from 1936. Watch. He didn't give him any hint. He said, Joe, could you show Curtis this show bill from 1936? He goes like this. He puts his arm in a huge pile, and he comes out, and there it is.
Yeah.
The biggest pile of clutter, and he knew where everything else. I marveled at that.
All over.
I mean, the best.
When I wanted one of his books, he goes, I got a couple around here. I go, I see one right there. Let me get it. He goes, no, don't touch that. And it was like, there was like a big, if I would have pulled it out.
Everything would have collapsed, like the Colliers brothers. Do you know at the old WABC, they actually brought a clutter expert because an intern went inside to get something and piles of my newspapers collapsed on the poor kid and he almost died.
Get out of here.
And they had to make me feel each and every newspaper before we would put it in the recycling bin. And the woman, the expert, would say, you're shaking. What are you shaking for, Curtis? I didn't finish reading that newspaper. She goes, that's from 5 years ago. But look, this is where I stopped on page 8.
That's hilarious.
You see, that's in my genetic patterns.
That's great. Before we move on, there's something I don't know a lot of people don't know. When Curtis was a young lad and he was a newspaper delivery boy, he actually saved several people out of a burning building. Would you like to tell us about that story?
Yeah, I was delivering the New York Daily News, 168 dailies, 182 on Sundays.
Wow.
And every Friday, every gavone out there would stiff me when I'd go around and collect. I get you next week, kid.
I hate that
I'll
shit.
double the tip. At the end of the month, you'll be in seventh heaven. I'd have to hide in the bushes to wait till they came home half in the bag before they would throw me a few dollars. That was the toughest part of the job. But one morning, I was there with my dog who would help me deliver the papers in the morning, and there was a fire down the block. I didn't know it was a fire because it seemed like somebody was banging on the door. These are all wood buildings at the time. And I saw smoke rising up from the roof. And it was in the winter when we had real winters, you know, like 20 foot of snow, you know, not now where we wait for 2 snowflakes. And I remember I went up to the door. I heard pounding, so I thought people were trying to get out. The door blew off the hinges because the air expanded, knocked me down. My dog ran all the way home underneath the kitchen table. I crawled inside, and I started to pulling people out. So my dad, again, a merchant mariner for 54 years, and on an oil tanker, told me, son, if there's ever a fire, don't try to walk in there. The smoke will knock you out. You'll die from the smoke, not the fire. Crawl on your belly. So my father was able, I was almost like listening to my dad. I was able to save 5 people.
How old were you?
I was 16.
Wow. And then you won an award for the Newsboy of the Year, right?
Oh, they took me to Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Oh, my big thing. There's Richard Nixon. I shook his hands. It was the coldest, wettest, clammiest shake of a hand I ever had. And then they don't let you talk. So I asked him one question. I thought you were going to get us out of the Vietnam War. All of a sudden, they said, what are you asking questions for? They hustled me out. The poor guy from the Daily News, who was my chaperone, that brought me there on Eastern Airlines, the shuttle, on the way back, he's saying, I'm going to lose my mortgage. You know what you did to me, Curtis? I was persona non grata. And then they did big, huge profiles of me to try to encourage other young men to deliver newspapers. Nowadays, they won't let kids deliver newspapers, not even the penny saver.
No, it's pathetic.
It's a lost art. It was really an art to be able to ride, no hands, on a big Chief Schwinn bicycle with the basket in front, rubber band it, toss it at the same time, and coupon day, Wednesday, the old ladies were outside waiting with the scissors. If you didn't get that paper there by 4:30, it was a hell of a price to pay. It taught you discipline.
Yeah. When we lived in Brooklyn, I know I should have said it, but who cares? We used to rob the bundles of the papers that were on the corner, and then we would sell them.
Oh.
Right in front of Kelly Park in Midwood.
You know when they did that in Howard Beach? After the Gottis and the Gambinos shot me 5 times, they stole every newspaper there, said, we got that. We got that.
I can't believe they did that to you.
What do you mean you can't believe? The way I talk, you can't believe that they would film me full of 5 hollow point bullets?
How could they not love you?
And by the way, you know, my very dear friend, Frank Morano, the Mamaluke, he loves the Gottis and Gambinos. The people who tried to kill me. I was at his wedding here on Staten Island. I thought I'd be the best man, right? Yeah, John Gotti Jr. is his best man.
No.
Yeah, the Gambinos and the Gottis there. I'm there with my wife, and the guy Gotti Jr. is going to get up and ask to dance with my wife.
Hey, Frank,
that would have set it off.
Frank, you didn't tell me that.
I should have been his best man.
In heart, you are. Now, listen, as time went on, you got into radio in the early 90s, and then what gave you that bug?
Oh, I listened to talk radio as a kid. You see, when I was growing up in the 60s, they just developed free-form radio. Allison Steele, the Nightbird, WNEW, you know, where they would play a whole album. So all the young guys and gals would listen to FM.
Yeah.
FM stands for freaking morons, feeble-minded, fornicating madly, free marijuana, and Frank Morano.
Yeah.
So I would be listening to the old WMCA, which was the big talk radio station at that time. Bob Grant was on in the afternoons. Barry Gray mid-morning. He was great. John Sterling was the Bob Grant of sports talk radio, screaming his lungs out at little kids who said, did you ever think that the Yankees would trade Mickey Mantle? You know, I was thinking maybe Mickey Mantle for Willie Mays. Hey, get off my phone, kid, you jerk. Boom. That was Mr. I love talk radio. I couldn't get enough. Barry Farber overnight, you know, would talk about 2 scorpions in a brandy glass with that North Carolina draw. It was the best. And again, it stimulated me, theater of the mind. And then Long John Neville and Candy Jones. Long John Neville was the best salesperson, pitchman ever. He could, sell you anything. He had us all convinced that his wife, Candy Jones, was a CIA agent. I remember listening. He had a guy on who wrote a book who said that he dug his way from Bayonne, New Jersey, the gateway to the world, to, at the time, Peking, not Beijing, Peking, Red China. And this Long John Neville saying, that's very conceivable. I could see how you could do that. That's great talk radio.
That's awesome. How did it go in time that you and Frank Morano actually hooked up? How did that happen?
Well, Frank Morano was an intern from NYU. You know, he was trying to be a violet. His poor family having to work 2 jobs just to make ends meet, to pay $55,000 a year, no frills, for an NYU education. Save your money. Look at Frank Morano.
Poor guy.
He interned at WABC. He became our morning producer for Curtis and Ron Kuby, whose mommy is a commie.
Yeah.
Now, you talk about volatility. Me and Ron Kuby. And then Frank hit his prime, because John Gotti Jr. and the Gambino crime family were on trial for attempting to murder me.
Yeah.
And Frank was assigned to go down to the trial every day and cover it. He was great reporting on that trial every day. The whole city was paying attention to what went on.
Wow. That's a cool story. And then as time went on, you guys became buds, right?
No, we didn't become buddies because remember, every student tries to take out the teacher. And I knew with eyes in the back of my head that this guy was trying to take me out. That one day he would want to be the king of talk radio. First it was Bob Grant, it was Curtis Sliwa, and it would be Frank Morano. Not in a month of Sundays, Frank. He's good, but you're not that good yet.
You two guys are two different classes in two different schools.
Yes.
You know, you're great at what you do. He's great at what he does. I can see both of you guys doing a show eventually one day. But that would be very interesting. Now, with you running for mayor, the rumor has it you're going to be coming back in 2025, right? Yeah.
Right? I mean, you think this piece of work, this Eric Adams, swagger man with no plan, mayor of the illegal aliens, is doing a good job? Look, Eric Adams is my best friend because he's going to be my best campaign manager. Every time I mention Eric Adams, people are going to say, yeah, I should have voted for you. And then I tell people, oh, you should have voted for me. Now you got to suffer for another 2 years. Then you get a chance to make up for your mistake and let me save the city. You should have let me do it before.
Yeah. That's when I decided and said I have to speak my piece to a point where I'm not going to be getting too heavily into the politics. But with all the stuff that I totally agree with starting, where do you think it's at now? Like the funding of the police. Where do you see that going right now?
Unfortunately, it's continuing.
Yeah.
But to Staten Island's credit, when all hell broke loose in the summer of 2020, the summer of George Floyd, remember, you'd have demonstrations with Black Lives Matter that has become big, large mansions as a result of white people's generosity. Please don't hurt us. Oh, I love Black Lives Matter. Please, here, take my money, take my money. And now they're big, large mansions. It's a new real estate agency and Antifa. And when they were attacking the police and firebombing them, and I calling them the worst words and putting up graffiti, and that Comrade Bill de Blasio, that part-time mayor, that dope from Park Slope, right, with his wife Charlene, who was smoking Maui Wowie and Hindu Kush, doing puff pass on the back porch of Gracie Mansion, abandoned our city, abandoned the police. The only borough to stand up for the police, where Blue Lives Matter was created, is right here on Staten Island, which is the most patriotic borough, the most pro-police borough, where Black Lives Matter and Antifa are not welcome.
It's crazy. It really is. Never in a million years that I thought the city would turn the way it is. I mean, from back in the day in the 70s, late 70s, I know it was a lot of crime going on.
Yeah.
What's the difference between then and now? I know two different.
The biggest difference now is we have a lot of emotionally disturbed persons.
Yes.
Who at any moment can be triggered off.
Of course.
These, as my father raised me when I was very young, he'd take me to the Bowery, where there were a lot of former seamen that he knew. Also over to Sag Harbor, which used to be the home for the seamen before they shipped out to North Carolina. All the merchant seamen, that was their retirement home. And he would tell me when there were men who were disheveled or looked like they had lost control of their mental faculties, he said, Curtis, there by the grace of God go you. He would touch them. He would hold them. He would hug them. Now, many of them had defecated on themselves, urinated on themselves. They were in need. These are lost souls. And that stuck with me.
Of course.
That's the difference. It's all these men and women who are roaming about, who need to get mental health care. And we have empty psychiatric hospitals. Instead, what do? We bring illegal aliens in and put them in tents. How about taking care of our Americans first, our veterans, our homeless, our emotionally disturbed, the lost souls? That's God's work. Take care of your own first before you start taking care of everybody else.
100%. And let me say this. You know, we were all immigrants, our grandparents, their parents, you know. But when we came into the system, they had to get legalized. They had to learn English. They had to get jobs. No one was giving nobody nothing. Anything they got from hard work. Our taxpayers' dollars are going to all these free housing, the phones, the food. And then when someone who's been living in America all their lives, or even part-time their life, they can't even get any of these benefits for their family.
I'll tell you a great story. My grandfather and grandmother, Fidel Bianchino, couldn't read or write. Nicoletta was the educated one. So Nicoletta is writing letters to Fidel's cousin, who's La Mesta, who owned a funeral parlor in East New York, Brooklyn, on Liberty Avenue. We have 4 children. We'd like to come over. We need a sponsor. Would you be willing to sponsor? La Mesta wrote back, and back then it took months, for a letter. Absolutely. You bring your 4 children over. My very dear cousin Fidel, I remember fondly when we were young people. So they show up at Ellis Island. She now has 12 children. Wow. My mother, Francesca, the last drop, the 13th, she's pregnant. There's La Mesta on the other side, my grandfather Fidel waving at him. Hey, La Mesta, La Mesta. La Mesta says to the immigration guy, who is this man? I never saw him before in my life. Because he wasn't going to take responsibility for 13 kids. And so they were ready to ship them all back. Luckily, another relative from Brooklyn was able to find out that they were housed on Ellis Island. One of them, Leonard, my uncle, they shipped back. He had a mastoid ear infection. He was housed on Bay Street, the old Merchant Mariners Hospital. That's where they would send the immigrants if they were sick and they couldn't cure them. If they couldn't cure you, they shipped you back. They broke up your family. I never met my Uncle Leonard. Yeah. He died in Andria, in Bari, Italy. They separated the family, but the family had to continue and come to America and live their dreams, the greatest country in the world.
That's crazy, right? The other thing that is very disturbing with the war vets and the senior citizens and throw them out of their home and put in the migrants in. I mean, listen, you want to put them somewhere, but you don't throw, especially a war veteran. I mean, that's a disgrace, and it makes us look weak.
Are we out of our minds? Yes, we are. And I blame both the Democrats and Republicans because they've been futzying around with this since 1980. They've never come up with a comprehensive immigration program. So politicians, Republicans, and Democrats, I don't let them speak at our rallies because they're rally killers. They just talk endlessly. They're kyakyarowns. People talk because I believe in people. I trust the people. I don't trust any politicians.
Oh, that's crazy. I just wish everybody could just get along. I mean, but it's never going to happen.
Wait. You just hope everybody gets along, right? Rodney King. What are you, Rodney King of Staten Island here?
Trying to save my ass.
Wait, North Shore doesn't get along with South Shore.
No,
well, start working on that.
You know that. I'm a South Shore guy.
Never. As soon as I say to somebody on the South Shore, hey, you want to come with me to the North Shore? No, I don't travel to the North Shore. Can you come to a Mid-Island? Well, maybe, Forest Avenue, but that's about as far as I go.
Yeah, the sticks. Unbelievable. So, where do you see everything going now? I mean, what should us New Yorkers do or keep doing?
Well, what we got to stop is the evacuation.
Yeah.
So many of our friends and relatives, if given the chance to leave, are leaving. And not just Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Texas, Tennessee, parts unknown. If the interest rates weren't 7.5% now, there'd be more houses for sale. Who's going to show up at your house with a bag full of money to say, hey, forget the third party, forget the bank, forget the mortgage.
Yeah.
So we got to improve and not move. And we've got to take control of what's going on in our lives, not moan and groan that the politicians aren't doing their job. When have they ever done their job? Come on, it's the people who raised you, your mother and father, your grandparents. Those are your role models. They're the people who gave you the glue that kept your life together. Whenever I'm in trouble, and boy, I've taken a lot of wrong turns, I always think, what did my mother and father and my grandparents tell me to do? And I learn from what they're my mentors. They're my role models. I don't need sports stars. I don't need movie stars. I don't need politicians. I got the fabric of what makes Americans great. La familia, your family.
100%.
Stick to your family
100%.
tradition.
Family, friends, everything. Now, listen, that's almost your time. Why don't you talk to us about, because we know you have a big, you and your wife got the big animal rescue program, and then you've got, 14, 16 cats? How many?
18.
Now 18, okay.
Feral cats. All of them that my wife Nancy rescued before they were going to be executed in the shelter. Before I came into your palazzo here, your studio, it's like MGM out here.
Yeah, I wish.
There were all, you have a colony of feral cats out there. They actually came out to the gate, you know, before it opened up, and then I had to be searched, right, you know, and wanded and everything. What, you got guys out here that whack you?
No.
But anyway, the point being is I saw at least 6 feral cats out there, all in this area.
There's a lot of cats.
Feral cats keep rats away. This mayor of ours who wears the $5,000 schmata suits, you know, all silk, right, and parties till the break of dawn. I wanted to be his rat czar.
Yeah.
Very simple. I didn't ask for any money. I'm nocturnal, rats are nocturnal, and cats are nocturnal. If you have outdoor cats, you won't have rats. Very simple. And it won't cost you taxpayers money. But the mayor, the Weisenheimer that he is, I don't need you as my rat czar. He got hit with another ticket last week. Another ticket. Trust me. If there's one thing I know about growing up, it's 2-legged rats, like Sammy the Bull Gravano, who ate the Parmesan cheese, and 4-legged rats. Leave it to me, and I'll get rid of both.
Now, that's great. Before we wrap this up, when did you start Rip and Read? How long has that been on the air for?
Rip and Read is when I came back from the campaign. John Katzimatidis, the greatest radio owner in the world, who lets me say whatever's on my mind. You got to understand, when I'm there and I'm attacking our elected officials, Republican and Democrat, business people, and I'm accusing them of the worst crimes, his phone is singing and ringing. Fire him, suspend him, get him to go down on Wounded Knee. And all John says to them is, when he's wrong, let me know, because so far he's been right. But John has told me, if you're wrong, that's it. Get a job hanging wallpaper. I said, I understand the deal. But I had to sell John on Rip and Read. I've been in the business of talk radio for 35 years. Yeah. So I said, I don't like this guy that you had, a person of no consequence, 12-1. I said, I can do it. He goes, well, you're going to have to try out. That's when you realize you have to take your humongous ego and put it outside. And I had to compete against 6 other people to do Rip and Read. And at the end of about a 3-month trial period, I got the hour to do. But let me tell you something. That's a wake-up call. Nobody is a person that has to be there. For instance, let's say tomorrow I got fired. Oh, I'll never listen to WABC again, right? The next week, the new guy is on. Hey, you know, Millie, that guy sounded pretty good. A month from now, Curtis, who?
Yeah.
That's the way life is, like Kevin McCarthy. Oh, Kevin McCarthy's no longer the speaker. Meantime, Scalise is already saying, I'll run. In another week, you'll have a new speaker. In another month, you'll say, Kevin, who? It's the way life is. Understand, we're all replaceable.
It's a shame.
Nobody is an untouchable in this life. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. You could be a billionaire. You come in with nothing, and you leave with nothing other than your honor, your dignity, your pride, and your family name.
And he said it all. Well, Curtis, where can people find you on social media?
So whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Twitter, you name it, I'm there. I'm Len Slice. You're going to get more Curtis Sliwa than you ever thought that you have in your life. And when I announce officially, I expect all of you to come out. And I know a lot of you guys voted for Eric Adams. I know you go, oh, no. Oh,
no, I didn't.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right, yeah. Everybody said they voted for me. Every person I meet, I voted for you.
Of course
if that
they
was
did.
the case, I would have been mayor of the city of New York.
It's crazy.
Now, to the credit, Staten Island voted for me overwhelmingly. Can I call myself the mayor of Staten Island?
Yes. Well, it sounds like you're a man with a plan, and it seems like you just started, Curtis. You know, God bless you. We need more guys like you, and I hope you come back to the show. Everybody, Curtis Sliwa.
Thanks.
Yeah. Curtis Sliwa. He said it all. Well, we got Charlie Romo back, and we're going to talk to him for a little while before we close the show. What's up, Charlie? How you doing, buddy?
What's up, John? Thanks for having me, man.
Good to see you.
Thank you so much. Always good to be in the, well, now it's not CTV anymore, right? It's
Community Media of Staten Island.
I like the new name, but it's always good to be back in the studio. Always good to see you, man. Thanks
I
for
appreciate it. Thank you so much. last time I seen you grew up a lot.
That's right. I finally hit my growth spurt, went through puberty. No. But no, I'm a young man now. You know, you met me as a teenager, I think.
Yeah.
So now I'm engaged.
I know.
getting
God bless
married.
you. You're a lucky man.
Thank you, man. I'm very blessed. A lot of good things going on, and I have a lot to be grateful for these days.
It's good to see a young man like you bringing the old school crooning back, the old Rat Pack.
Sinatra, Darren, Tony Bennett.
You like Dean Martin?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
The king of cool, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So now listen, when did you start singing?
I've been singing my whole life, since I'm a little kid, you know.
Okay.
Professionally, since I'm 17.
All right.
Started off in kind of local restaurants right here on Staten Island, North Shore, South Shore. That kind of snowballed into me doing some private parties, private events on Staten Island, weddings, things like that. And, you know, from there, it really kind of picked up. I got a live band behind me. I was working with some of my musical heroes, musicians. I've worked with musicians who played for Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett, Bobby Darin. Did a lot of the jazz cabaret circuit in Manhattan. And now, thank God, I'm busier than ever. You know, I'm very blessed to be to have not one but two careers that truly fulfill me and get to make a difference.
You're another school teacher.
That's right, exactly. I just heard we had a school teacher from C on earlier.
Yeah.
I work at Neudorf High School here on Staten Island. I'm a social studies teacher, so shout out to Neudorf. Go Cougars. Go Cougars. But, you know, like I said, I have two careers that I love so much. I get to put smiles on people's faces. I get to put smiles on my students' faces.
You're lucky.
And like I said, I really do have a lot to be grateful for these days. So.
Listen, you got your health, you got your gift that God gave you. I mean, you got your fiancé.
Absolutely.
You got a good family. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Who
Now,
could ask for anything more,
What
right?
got you into all of these songs? Your family?
You know, I like all kinds of music, but my family, they raised me. You know, I'm born into an Italian-American family from New York, so you always had the Rat Pack. You always had Louis Prima playing in the house on Sundays. But also, my grandparents used to drag me to oldie shows and doo-wop shows as a young boy, you know, like Bishop Ford High School in Brooklyn. And I used to, just as a kid, I loved going to all these doo-wop shows and oldie shows. And, you know, I had the bug since I was a kid. As I got a little older, I developed a singing voice that really fit that style of music well. And I'm at a point now where, obviously, I'm doing it professionally, but rather than just having a career doing it, I truly do consider it a mission to carry the torch of this timeless music to the next generation.
1,000%. And when we were talking, you definitely should put out some originals, even if it's at your own pace. And
Absolutely.
how many piece band do you play with?
Oh man, as big as someone's willing to have, really, you know.
9 to 12?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You could go
You
up
need that.
to. I actually did. You mentioned original music. I do have one single out there that people could listen to. It's called Sinatra.
Okay.
It's actually a tribute song to the chairman of the board, Frank. So you could check it out. It's on any streaming platform, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube. It's called Sinatra, and that was actually recorded with a 17-piece orchestra.
Awesome,
so we had a beautiful horn section, and hopefully more recordings to come in the near future. There's still that I want to achieve. You know, thankfully I am very busy working in the live events field, but I definitely want to get into the studio and get some recordings out there for the rest of the world, hopefully, to listen to.
100%. We got to give a shout out to our friend Vanessa Racci.
Oh, I love Vanessa. Yeah, we just actually we just debuted recently.
Yes.
A tribute show to one of my favorite singers
Was
of all
it Connie
time.
Francis?
Connie Francis.
And then what are you?
And Bobby Darin.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because you remind me of a young Bobby Darin.
Thank you. That's the best compliment someone could give me because he's my favorite singer, an incredible talent.
You saw the movie?
Versatile. Yeah. Beyond the Sea.
Yes.
Came out, it kind of got outshined by a biopic of another great singer I love, Ray Charles, or Jamie Foxx.
Great.
Ray.
That was a great movie.
Came out the same year. So unfortunately.
And Ray won?
Ray won a lot more, unfortunately, than Beyond the Sea did. Kevin Spacey, great actor, unfortunately, ran into some trouble there. But a great film, definitely underappreciated. But Bobby Darin, man, one of the greatest entertainers in history. And obviously, you mentioned Vanessa and our show together. They had a very unique romance that, unfortunately, her father didn't approve of. But we were just talking about it backstage, Curtis and I. He's a big Bobby Darin fan as well, apparently. And she says, till this day, the biggest regret in her life is the fact that she didn't elope and marry Bobby Darin.
Wow.
You know,
I didn't know that.
I'm actually lucky enough to. They used to keep in touch through love letters when they were on the road, and I'm the proud owner of one of those letters that Bobby
love
wrote
letter.
to
Who writes
Connie.
love letters?
Right, that's a real throwback, man. But yeah, I love Bobby Darin. He's probably one of my favorite singers and greatest inspirations.
Well, this goes off the tack. Did you like Elvis?
Oh, I love Elvis.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorites too, and
Yeah.
and another one of those artists who really got me into this whole era of music. My fiance and I, we actually took a trip to Graceland last year.
That's a great trip.
And right after the movie came out, which I loved.
Yeah.
I'm not. Did you guys see it? It was good, right?
I didn't think I was gonna like it, but I liked it.
It was good. It was good. Austin did a great job. I mean, who could play Elvis, right?
No.
The guy, there's one of a kind. So I loved what they did, but being in Elvis's house was sick. I feel like I felt his presence.
You did feel his presence. You were there. But Charlie, listen, that's your time, and I want you to come back on the show.
Would love to.
I want to put you on rotation at least once a year with
Yeah,
us.
no doubt, man.
Where could people find you on social media, website?
Absolutely. You guys could check me out at charlieromo.com. You could see a list of all of my upcoming dates, see my full schedule on there. I have a lot of great shows coming up here on Staten Island and in New York City. So definitely check out my website, charlieromo.com. I'm also on social media. Instagram, I'm most active on. It's just Charlie_Romo. And you could also type my name in on Facebook. Just type in Charlie Romo. And hopefully I'll see you guys at an upcoming show. But thank you so much for having me, John.
Thank you so much, buddy.
Pleasure, man.
There you have it, the power of social media. Everybody, Charlie Romo.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, John.
All right, it's about that time of the night that we have to say goodbye and close the show. But I'd like to thank all our guests tonight and everybody that came out to sit in the studio audience, my staff and crew. If you need to check out the show and be part of the studio audience, log on to johnnyptv.com. Everything is on there. And we'd like to thank Paulie from Nucci's Restaurant for all the Italian food you guys ate tonight. And our newest donators, La Dolce Bakery, for all the great pastries that you had. Thank you, guys. I'm Johnny Potenza. Get home safe. Good night.